since the questions still keep rolling in on what kind of paint to use and what kind of paint not to use, I figured I would do this video. This storage container pretty much contains all of my paint supplies for the most part, besides primer and seal. But what I just figured I would show everyone how I have things organized and everything. This is my primary color for the most part, and this has everything in it from bases to clears. I kind of organize everything by color. Everything is just separated different brands. So I have, Game Color here. I have Tamiya here. I have Citadel here. I have pretty much everything in this thing, and it's organized. So I have here. I have my reds. I have purples, pinks. I can mix any of the stuff. Obviously, I do that pretty often if I don't have the exact shade that I want. I have my clears in here in case I need to do anything that's metallic. All the different greens for every different type of Hulk I've done, and the different types of stuff where I use brighter colors for like the veins, where I use darker olive tones for the base color for his skin, neon greens for random things every now and then. I like how it came out. So blues are blues. I mean, I use different types of paint. I use Formula P3. I use, you name it, whatever works. I don't even know what kind this is yet. I haven't used this yet. This is some type of acrylic paint that I got at a hobby shop. I'm going to use it at some point. It's olive drab. I got a couple ideas to try out on that. So that's drawer one. Drawer two is my yellows, browns, flesh tones, and metallics. So I start out over here with all the different color flesh tones, and there's like 7 or 8 different types of Caucasian flesh tones. And then I have leather stuff mixed in here too. This is specifically leather. It's kind of cool that it comes out pretty decent. So you can use that for like leather belts, things like that. And then I got, Battlefield Brown, and I have different random things in there. For an African American skin tone, I have different types of bases in here. Random different things in here, depending on exactly who the person is. Like if you're working on, you can do anything. If you're working on a Steve Rogers, you're going to pick something a little bit more pale because the guy's supposed to be Irish. If you're going to be working on Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury, you're going to have to pick something that matches his skin tone. So you have to match this stuff with actual like photographic reference too, to try to get the exact tone. Here's another thing Formula P3 makes a leather. It's, again, I've used this on accessories like Deadpool. I've used this on Captain America's stuff for the latest movie. These leather things are actually pretty nice, and they come out worn, and you just got to do a couple different tones over it. None of these work individually and unique by themselves. You have to do different layers. You have to do different things. A figure is a 3D piece of art when you're doing a custom, and you're going to need bases. You're going to need highlights, you're going to need washes, you're going to need glazes, you're going to need all these different things to make a figure work correctly, and that's just the painting portion of it. So everyone keeps asking, this is the best yellow I can find. Formula P3 makes yellow. This is called Heartfire. It's a darker yellow. I like that the best so far out of everything I've used. This isn't bad either. This is, I don't even know what that is. Averland Sunset Citadel paint. I like that pretty much too. The brighter one, Citadel's pretty good with the brighter paints too for highlights. I hate painting yellow. I hate painting red. Everybody has the same problems that I have. Bottom drawer is interesting because it's pretty much my base colors. So over here I have different types of white, off-white, different shades, different types of paint. Different types of paint work good on different types of figures. So sometimes I will use this white. Sometimes I will use this for skull white. It all depends on what I'm using it for, whether it's a base, whether it's a highlight, whatever it is. Different things work different ways. And it's all trial and error and playing with it to find out what works. Whether it's a flat, a gloss, whatever you want to use. Over here, I just picked these up. I'm playing around with these new types of colors. I've never used these. Guys rave about this stuff, so I've used a couple different colors that you've already seen up here, but I've never used black or gray, which I'm just starting to do. Glazes, I bought these. I haven't used a lot of them. They're kind of supposed to work as if you put down like a silver coat, and then you would put this over top of the silver. The silver would then kind of reflect through it, and this would be like just a tint that goes over top of it. Don't really like it. Citadel makes a ton of technicals. I keep all the technicals in this bottom drawer too. Oxide, so it looks like, you know, a weathered copper. No idea what that is. Liquid green stuff, it's just kind of for fill in the gap type stuff, for sculpting, for small details, to kind of rub out small details on there. Corrosion, which basically makes it dirty, muddy, and gritty. Rust. I like this one. This is pretty good. It comes out in an actual rust color. You just gotta know how to paint it correctly. Rot. This comes out like the consistency of snot. It comes out like a dry, liquid, clear snot. I've used it for a lot of zombie guts, intestines, things like that are hanging out of a figure or a monster type character. I just picked up the corrosion again. My favorite out of the technicals, Blood for the Blood God. It dries and comes on to the figure like blood. It stays like a wet look. The more you use on, the darker it is. The less you lose on, the brighter it is. So it has the same type of feel of actual blood. I mean, you can still see, I smeared some on here, and it still looks wet. It looks like there's blood dripped on there. And it smears pretty well, too. I've played around with it a little bit. So, I mean, it looks like blood spatter. It looks like it's great for gunshot wounds if you drill into a figure that's battle damaged. I have all my washes down here. I keep all that stuff in here. There's a flesh wash in here from Formula P3. This is really good. I like this. So that way your head sculpts on the figures aren't just plain one tone. They're multiple tones. It falls into the cracks of like a sculpt in a forehead or laugh lines on the face. Just different types of things I have in here. Heavy washes, light washes. Washes I've mixed myself. Here's a primer. Yeah, I mean, I mix my own. Once this thing's empty, I'll put more black in here and more stuff to water it down. So that's everything I use. I don't want to get into the brushes. I pretty much use different types of brushes. If you're not going to airbrush, you have to buy quality brushes, or the stuff is not going to come out. You're going to have problems with your paint. You're going to have pieces of brush stuck inside the actual figure itself. It looks amateur. You're going to have paint lines all throughout your figure too. That looks bad. If you don't buy the type of paint that I have here, this is the best stuff on the market that I have found. If you don't buy that stuff and you decide to opt to buy this junk or this junk at Walmart, you're going to be miserable because it's going to chip off your figure and nothing's going to work. So you have to spend money to get quality products. So another thing I do is these cans you can't really see because they're spray painted over, but this used to be a clean can of black primer from Citadel. This is what I prime all the black figures with. Anything that's a dark color like a navy blue or a black base like a Black Widow or a Steve Rogers. This is what I'm using. I'm using this. You can buy these online. You can buy them at Games Workshop. This stuff is good for that. They sell white too. So if you're using something like yellow, you're using something like red, like a Deadpool, you want to go with the lighter color instead of the darker color. They make a seal also, and this is the seal, Citadel seal. Again, I kind of wound up having to spray it. Like I actually propped up a figure and spray painted the black against it because I mean, whatever, who cares what happens to the can. But this is a Citadel seal. Same exact thing. This is what I use to coat my figures. I don't like using the Krylon stuff. I think it comes out too sticky sometimes. This comes out a mix between glossy and flat. It's like not even a semi-gloss. It kind of gives you a factory look for your stuff, like you bought it, like the figure was from a store. So this is the stuff I use to seal my figures after I'm done painting everything and after I've already done that. But again, none of this stuff, no matter how much you buy, is going to be good unless you actually have the solid sculpt underneath of it and you've eliminated any of the paint rub issues. You have to start with bases that work, because no matter what you do, no how much you prime, no matter how much you sand things down, there's still a chance that there's going to be a lot of paint rub, especially if you're selling these things or you're using them yourselves after you make yourself customs. The stuff is going to be, the more you move the joints, the more they're going to wear. So no matter what you do, there's still going to be wear and tear on the figure. So you could take all the precautions you need to do by sanding things down, by removing everything like I do, and cutting the joints down inside so that way they don't rub against each other. You can do that all day long, but you still may have these joint rub issues. So if you want unhappy customers, or you want to be unhappy if you spend 80 hours making your own custom figure that you know they're never going to make, and you really, really want, and you're going to pose it a billion different times, you're going to have the issues. So even if you spend all the money on this, the stuff's not foolproof. You still need to actually do the base figure correctly before you apply any of this stuff. And I know this stuff's expensive. I know they're like $3 a pop. I mean, I probably have a couple $100 worth of stuff just in this thing alone. So just wanted to give you guys some advice because I have a ton of paint questions. I'll be answering any paint questions right here on the YouTube. I'll answer whatever. I check it periodically. I pretty much check it daily. So feel free to comment. Feel free to write anything. Ask me anything you want. I'm here to help, so I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys want. Thanks. I appreciate you guys looking at my video and look forward to hearing what your questions or responses are.